Hello, and welcome back to the second video in the introductory series for Taskmatics Scheduler. In this video, I'll show you how to install the Taskmatics Scheduler. Now, I've already gone and downloaded the installer. For you guys, you can go out to taskmatics.com/download, put in your email, and download a copy. You'll get a serial number sent to you, which you'll use in the installer. So I'm going to go ahead and double-click on the installer, and on the first screen, you can pop open the terms and read the terms and accept them. I'll go ahead and hit accept. On the second screen, you'll go ahead and fill in your serial number that you got, so I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, once I've done that, I can choose to install one or both of the components that compose the Taskmatics Scheduler. The coordinator is kind of the brains of the system. It basically dispatches tasks to an agent, and the agent actually executes your task. The coordinator also listens for specific triggers. They can be based on a calendar or specific events that happen. In this case, I'm going to install both, and I'll show you how that works. So we'll go ahead and click Next. Okay, on the next screen, you'll be able to configure your database. And the database is used to house all the configuration for your custom tasks. So I have a SQL Server installed locally, and I'll use localhost as a server, and I'll use the default name for the database. And in this case, I do have Windows Auth set up, and I do have appropriate credentials to create a new database on the database server. So I'll use my current credentials for Windows Authentication. And the runtime credentials, I'll leave that as Windows Authentication as well. What will happen is on the next screen, when I configure the coordinator, I'll use a Windows account, and that Windows account will automatically get the credentials added to the database, so it has access to, to store and update the configuration. So this is all okay. We'll hit Next, and then we'll configure the coordinator. So the first thing you'll see is the file sets path. The file sets path is a location where your files are stored for your tasks. So a single task could be made up of one or more file sets, and a file set is one or more files. So this is just the location where we store the files. We don't store it in the database. We do have a separate folder that stores all the tasks files. The next option you'll see is what user account to run the coordinator service as. You could uncheck that and specify credentials. If you have a separate credentials that you want to run the account as, they could be domain credentials or local Windows account credentials. In this case, I'm just going to leave network service as a runtime user. And so now what will happen is on the previous screen, we said to use Windows credentials. So the network service will then have access to the configuration database based on the previous setting that we specified. The next set of settings are for the administration website. In order to configure your custom tasks, we provide a website to do all the work within. By default, we'll use the machine name as the host name. If you want to configure a DNS name here, you can. And then we provide this as the default port to run out. The other thing you'll see here is an option for generating a self-signed certificate. The administration website only runs on HTTPS, so you need to have a certificate. In this case, we're going to just generate one, and you'll get the the warning in the browser that says it's not a verified certificate. You want to continue to browse to the site, and you'll just have to go ahead and do yes. If you do want to provide one, you can specify a path to the certificate and the password for the certificate. But for this video, I'm just going to generate a self-signed certificate. So then we'll go to the next screen. The next screen and the last screen for configuration is for the agent itself. The agent requires a port because the agent's going to run as a separate service, and the coordinator has to talk to the agent, and so it's going to talk over this port. I'm going to leave the default port, and I'm also going to leave the default group for authorization. If you wanted to, you could specify a different group for authorization, but in this case, I'm just going to leave it as everyone. The next option you have here is the working folders path. This is where your task executes. So a subfolder is created for each task instance within this folder, and that's where it executes. So I'm just going to leave the default path for now, and I'm also going to run as network service. So let's go ahead and install the application. Okay. And the installation should be fairly quick. It'll create a restore point if there isn't one already there, and then it'll install the components. And once the installation is complete, you'll want to pop open a browser and browse to the administration website. Okay, and there you have it. The scheduler is now installed on your system, and you can log in. So to log in, the credentials that are automatically added to the system as admin are your own local credentials. So the account that you use to install the application is the single administrator to the scheduler. You could always go in and change that later on. So right now we'll go ahead and log into the system, and I'll show you how to go ahead and do that. So there, I logged in, and you can browse to the users under administration, and you can see, you know, my user over here, and you can add a new user if you like. Let's go ahead and add Dave to this, make him an administrator. And now Dave is administrator, and if I wanted to, I could delete myself, but I'm not really going to do that. So that's it. That's how you install the Taskmatics Scheduler. I hope you've enjoyed this video. In the next video, I'll show you how to configure the task that we created in the first video and show you how to execute it. Thanks again.